Okay, welcome everyone, and thank you for joining me tonight. It's a super busy time of year, so kudos to you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to learn how to take charge of your health and build the health naturally. This is the most important time of the year for this discussion. It may not seem like it, but if we think about it, we tend to put our health on the back burner during this time of year. We're stressed to the max, and we're eating all of these sugary, sweet treats, and both of those things deplete our immune system. So we're much more prone to illnesses, the colds and the flus that come along. So this time of year, we need to pay even closer attention and do some things to be proactive against these colds and flus and whatever comes along. This 4-part webinar series will empower you to take the reins and work towards prevention of not just the colds and flu, but also chronic degenerative disease. And we'll talk more about that, what the causes are and what we can do to ward that off. So just a little bit about myself. I've been in the nutrition arena for about 11 years now. I am a certified holistic health practitioner and integrative nutrition health coach. And basically what that means is I'm your guide on the side as you work to implement healthy lifestyle changes and build better health. So health coaches work in a variety of areas. They work with insurance companies. A lot of insurance companies will have plans whereby participants can call in and get the support of a health coach, either for directions and help with implementing a program their doctor has suggested, or possibly just getting their health numbers in line and maybe a little accountability. Health coaches also work in the corporate arena, so they're helping the corporations keep their employees healthy. It behooves them to keep healthy because then they don't have to pay out sick pay, and then they can keep a full force of experienced people on the job. So in addition to that, health coaches work on a personal level, one-to-one, and that's probably my most exciting work that I do. It's really rewarding to take a person from point A to point B and bring their health along so that they can enjoy life full of energy and vitality and be able to do the things that they love to do. In addition, health coaches work in groups. That's an interesting dynamic as well. Very fun. So there's a lot of accountability as you're partnering with people in the group. And of course, you don't want to let your buddy down. So the accountability is pretty strong and we all have a great time. So I became passionate about this area over 13 years ago when I became very, very sick. Excuse me just a minute here. I became sick with a chronic, debilitating condition, a lifetime of illness, and I wasn't able to find the answers. I had fallen through the cracks of traditional medicine. So I was given one pharmaceutical drug after another, each with their own varied symptoms and side effects. So it became a snowball effect. I would have one pharmaceutical which caused symptoms, and then I'd have to have another one to get rid of the symptoms that were created by the first one. So it became a very frustrating process for me. Luckily for me, I have a very intelligent, very persistent son who kept telling me, Mom, you need to take a different path. You need to take a more natural path for your health. And he was very persistent, finally persuaded me that we'd get on this journey together. So he helped me along implementing some diet changes, some nutritional supplement changes, and I was able to turn my health around in a matter of 10 months. Very, very powerful. But not only was the health turnaround powerful, I mean, in the process, I lost 87 pounds that I'd been hanging on to because of this chronic condition. So it was very powerful, but the bigger part of this is I had a new understanding about the power of diet and nutritional supplementation and nutrition in general and lifestyle and environment and how all that plays together to build our health. So in this webinar, you'll hear a similar story of a doctor with absolutely no belief in natural medicine. He turned his thinking around and was able to help his wife recover from a debilitating condition very similar to my own using natural nutrition. So just a couple of housekeeping things before we get started. I'm going to be muting everyone here. Feel free to type into the chat box whatever questions you have. We'll be opening it up later at the end of the presentation so you can ask whatever questions you'd like. If for some reason you'd rather not ask your question, because this is being recorded, please just type your number, your phone number or your email or both into the chat box, and I'll be happy to follow up with you after the presentation is over. So I'll be providing some links. There are some resources that I'm going to be offering during the presentation, and I'll be offering those in the chat box as well, and you'll be able to follow those. And of course, please contact me with any questions there as well. So let's get started. Okay, welcome to tonight's presentation on what your doctor wasn't taught in med school about nutrition that you really need to know. This is session 2. So just a little recap from last week. In last week's session, we covered the truth about why physicians are disease and drug oriented. We covered why you may not want to rely on your doctor alone for nutritional guidance. We talked about the story of a remarkable health turnaround of a lady and what she used to heal. And then I offered some shocking statistics that helped to convert this supplement-skeptic doctor to a true believer. In this part 2, we are going to be talking about the importance of supplementing with protein and amino acids. We'll talk about the importance of a healthy flora for good digestion and better health. This area of science is exploding, and we're only going to be able to hit the tip of the iceberg tonight, but hopefully we'll give you enough information so that you realize how important it is to make sure that our gut is healthy. It's foundational for every piece of our health. And we'll talk about telomeres, what they are and why they matter. And we'll also talk more about Shaklee's Life Strip and what makes it so very special. So I'll be offering my free gift here, which is the companion to this webinar, What Your Doctor Wasn't Taught in Med School About Nutrition, that you really need to know. I'll be putting the link in the chat box at the end, so make sure you grab that at the end. So this is something that you may not realize, a little statistic here. Less than 6% of doctors actually get any kind of formal training in nutrition. And it may shock you to discover that they only get just a few hours, if any, in their entire med school experience. And probably the biggest pieces that are left out of this are lifestyle and nutritional supplementation. If you were to go to your doctor and ask them about a multivitamin, whether or not you should take one, or maybe a targeted solution for blood sugar or cholesterol or any of the big chronic problems, they probably aren't going to be able to answer your questions. I'm not trying to beat up on doctors, but I do want people to understand that their doctor's advice isn't always up to date when it comes to nutrition and diet and lifestyle and vitamin supplements. So where do you turn when you want to protect your health and work towards prevention? Well, of course, I recommend that you get educated on the basics of nutrition and supplementation, and I'm going to be offering some of that education for you tonight. We don't really want to solely rely on our doctors for this type of advice. There is a whole new type of medicine. It's called functional medicine. These people are MDs, DOs, naturopaths, all working to find the root cause of disease, and they are truly beginning in the gut. We'll talk more about that later. So physicians are, for the most part, disease-oriented. And I have the utmost respect for doctors and their incredible amount of knowledge. But remember, your doctor was trained to attack disease using mainly drugs and surgery. So there's very little attention paid to prevention. It's not fair to expect them to be as knowledgeable about nutrition and vitamins as they are about their drugs. They just weren't taught. So the challenge for many people is they meet a doctor like Dr. Strand. We talked a little bit about Dr. Strand last week, but they meet a doctor like Dr. Strand who has the same attitude that he had before he was converted. And he wrote his book, actually. It was called What Your Doctor Doesn't Know About Nutritional Medicine May Be Killing You. So if your doctor feels like Dr. Strand did, you'll have very few options other than drugs and surgery. Now, I'm not knocking the amazing power of modern drugs and surgery. There is definitely a place for it. However, our bodies were designed to heal themselves if we give it the right tools in the nutrients and the resources that they need. Drugs and surgery should be the last options, not the first and only ones. When Dr. Strand's patients brought their bottles of supplements into the office and asked if he believed taking vitamins would produce any health benefits, he'd wrinkle his brow and with his most astute professional expression, he would carefully examine the labels. Then, handing the bottles back, he'd say, that stuff was absolutely no use at all. The truth, he now admits, was that he knew next to nothing about nutrition or nutritional supplementation. In medical school, he had not received any significant instruction on the subject. He'd used all the patented answers when patients asked about vitamins. They're just snake oil, or vitamins just make for expensive urine, or you can get all the required nutrients you need by just eating the right foods. Well, maybe you've heard some of these from some of these same out-of-date comments from your doctor. For the first 23 years of Dr. Strand's clinical practice, he simply did not believe in nutritional supplements. So let's take a quick poll here. Have you ever heard these out-of-date comments from your doctor or medical professional? Let me just launch it here. Just a quick yes or no. There you go. Has your doctor or any other medical professional told you that nutritional supplements don't work or something similar? Okay, just another couple seconds here. Okay, and here's your results. So I'd be very interested in hearing some more about your experiences in the chat box afterwards. I'd love to hear that. So moving on here. Well, Dr. Strange's change of heart started after he met and married his wife, Liz. She had some health problems, but Liz honestly thought that if she married a physician, her health would improve. Well, she was very wrong. Most moms with little children are tired, but Liz seemed unusually fatigued. Although she was only 30 years old, she told him she felt like she was 60. As the years passed, she developed more symptoms and health problems that required several medications, much like myself. By their 10th anniversary, Liz was so tired that most of the time she labored to put one foot in front of another. She experienced continual, total body pain, overwhelming fatigue, horrible allergies, recurrent sinus and lung infections. And I can tell you I had every one of these, along with pretty severe depression, which goes along with all of this. So finally, after testing and evaluation, Liz's doctors diagnosed her problem as fibromyalgia. This medical condition involves an array of symptoms, the worst being chronic pain and fatigue. So back when Dr. Strand was working with Liz on this condition, there really wasn't a cure. There was little he could do to ease her symptoms, and basically he just loaded her up with medications because that's all he knew. He had her taking amitriptyline at night for sleep, anti-inflammatories for pain, muscle relaxants, inhalers for asthma and hay fever, Seldane for allergies, and eventually weekly allergy shots. In spite of his best efforts and all this medicine, year after year, her health gradually declined. Although he maintained his professional exterior, on the inside, Dr. Strand was growing desperate. He didn't know where to turn. He visited several times with the pulmonologist and the infectious disease specialist, and they assured him that he was doing everything that he could. About this time, a friend of the family shared with Liz that her husband had also had pneumonia and had experienced significant fatigue during the recovery. He took some nutritional supplements, and they had helped him regain his strength. Liz was aware of her husband's negative attitude towards vitamin supplements, so she knew she probably better get his blessing before trying them. When she asked, even she was surprised at his response. He said, "Honey, you can try anything you want. We doctors certainly haven't been able to do any good." How horrible he must have felt. So her friend brought a collection of vitamin supplements to their house the next day. Liz eagerly swallowed them and downed 2 health drinks as well. To his amazement, within 3 days, his wife was obviously feeling better. After 3 weeks of faithfully swallowing many tablets and consuming those strange-looking drinks, Liz felt so good she stopped taking the steroids and nebulizer treatments. Now, here, I just want a small caveat. I want you to understand that we don't ever take anybody off her medication. Obviously, Liz's husband was a physician, so he could work with her on that. But that is something that we can partner with the doctor on, so that as you improve, maybe some of the medications can be cut back on or eliminated altogether. But that's something that we do with the doc. So 3 months passed, all bringing gradual improvement, and Liz never looked back. She was stronger than she'd been in years and exuded a renewed outlook on life. Her eyes sparkled when she returned from training and caring for her horses. She also no longer was afraid of suffering from allergic reactions to hay and mold and dust. And I can tell you, those were biggies for me. Every fall and every spring, I'd end up down for the count with horrible migraines. Dr. Strand wasn't yet sure whether her dramatic health recovery was a miracle from God or was the work of her nutritional medicine. So he decided to do his own research. He wanted to get to the bottom of it and embarked on an intense study into supplementation. So let's look at what he discovered. So we're going to talk a little bit about the importance of supplementing with protein and essential amino acids. And I just want to give you a little bit of information about some of the resources I tapped into on this. One of them was, it's called A Study Course in Nutrition by Dr. Forrest C. Shackley. And then also, you've probably heard of this fellow, T. Colin Campbell, who is the author of the China study. And that was the most comprehensive study of nutrition ever conducted, and the startling implications for diet, weight loss, and long-term health. So those are some of the resources here. So protein is the most sacred of all nutrients. It is a vital component in our bodies. They function as enzymes, hormones, structural tissue, and transport molecules, all of which make life possible. So 9 essential amino acids are needed for making our tissue proteins, and they must be provided by the food that we eat. They are called essential because our bodies can't make them. 95% of your cell structure is made up of protein. Talk about important. It requires a good supply to make repairs and build new cells. Without protein, there would be no cells. Without protein, there would be no body. Unfortunately, one of the challenges today is getting a good, high-quality protein. And the obvious goal is to get it without unhealthy fats and making sure that there's some enzymatic activity left in it after we have prepared it. So you must not only consider the quantity of protein that you eat, like most people do, you must give careful consideration to its quality as well. So protein that does not have all of the amino acids that we need can actually weaken our body structure by failing to do a complete job of building cells. What are amino acids? They're really the building blocks of everything in nature. This is why the ancient Greeks gave it the name protos, meaning takes first place. So the key reason using a high-quality protein supplement makes sense revolves around everything that we've talked about here. You may not realize this, but we lose a lot of the quality in our protein from processing, refining, chemicalization, and overcooking. Once they have been altered to the point which coagulates or hydrolyzes or otherwise induces a chemical change of some sort in the protein matter, the enzymatic activity is lost. We get the full impact of the statement when we realize that the enzymatic activity is completely destroyed at a temperature of about 130 degrees, which is far below the boiling point. I can't emphasize strongly enough that your life depends upon the enzymatic activity being in place in your proteins. So switching gears here just a little bit, we're going to talk about the exploding science of gut health, the importance of healthy flora for digestion and health. And some of the resources that we used here were the work of Casey Adams, PhD, Protection Against Infection, Probiotics, Using Nature's Tiny Warriors to Stem Infection and Fight Disease. The work of Rick Gold, A Definitive Guide to Gut Bacteria and Probiotics. And then again, we have Dr. Mercola, Microbial Diversity and Gut Flora. So those are some of the resources there. So you might be surprised to find that you have more bacteria in your body than you do cells. Nearly 100 trillion bacteria, fungi, viruses, and other microorganisms compose your body's microflora. And advancing science has made it quite clear that these organisms play a major role in both your physical and mental health. I've seen that happen. All of these intestinal microflora are part of your immune system, and about 80% of it originates in your gut. There. With such a large concentration of bacteria in our bodies, it's logical that we depend on them for our health. Microorganisms living within our bodies may be either probiotic, pathobiotic, or eubiotic. A probiotic is a microorganism living within the body while contributing positively to the body's health. These friendly bacteria are also called intestinal flora, meaning healthful. The pathobiotic is a microorganism that harms or impedes the body in one way or another. And eubiotics can be either harmful or helpful depending on where they're located and the size of the colony. So probiotics were first discovered in the early 1900s by a scientist named Metchnikoff. Probiotic, as we were mentioning, means for life. Probiotic colonies work with the body's internal immune system to organize strategies that prevent toxins and pathogenic microorganisms from harming the body. The quantity and content of our probiotic populations can make a difference between those who are easily sickened and overwhelmed by viral, bacterial, or fungal infections. I'm sure you know people that are in that situation, and those who are able to repel infection and stay healthy. After all my years of being so very sick, I very rarely get sick now, and when I do feel something coming on, I'm pretty much able to fend it off. So probiotics can also quickly identify harmful bacteria or fungal overgrowth and work directly to eradicate them. Within the intestines, probiotics attach to and dwell in between the villi and the microvilli. And you'll probably remember from your biology that the villi and the microvilli are the little hairs that protrude from the digestive tract wall. This allows them to not only keep pathogenic bacteria from infecting those cells, it also allows them to monitor the size of the food molecules going to the intestinal wall for absorption. This helps prevent the body from absorbing molecules that are too large or haven't broken down sufficiently. So why is that important? Well, just a little discussion here about what goes on when these large molecules get into the bloodstream. The conditions that can create that are what are called leaky gut. It can be called gut permeability. But what happens is, for whatever reason, it could be a food intolerance, it could be a bad environment of bad bacteria in the gut, but there's an abrasiveness that happens. And understand that the cell wall is only one cell thick. The idea is that we want to keep the joining structures close together, and we call those tight junctions between those cells. And when those are compromised in some way, we can get large molecules leaking directly into the bloodstream. And what happens, and most importantly with proteins, is that our body senses an invader, and it says, alert, alert, and it goes on the attack. Not only does it attack that molecule, but there's also collateral damage with the tissues around it. And that's where we get into autoimmune conditions and, you know, like a fibromyalgia type situation. So it's very important that we keep our gut healthy, that we keep those tight junctions intact and keep those probiotics at a good level. For many people, they'll be able to drink milk or eat nuts or breads for many years, and then all of a sudden they become allergic or sensitive to that food. I've had clients have that happen. So why? Larger proteins from these foods are being allowed into the bloodstream. Studies have confirmed that probiotics can reverse the problem, effectively reducing allergies and intestinal permeability. Probiotics are also called friendly because they help us digest food and they secrete beneficial nutritional products. Look, amazingly, probiotics are also a good source of a number of essential nutrients. So take a look at this list. Some of the B vitamins here, we've got biotin, thiamine, riboflavin, niacin, pantothenic acid, pyridoxine, cobalamin, folic acid, vitamin A, and vitamin K. Now, one thing that we know, and you'll hear more about this later about the microcoating and one of the multivitamins I suggest, is that the folic acid has to be absorbed through the stomach. If it's not absorbed there, you might as well not even be taking it, because once it's past that area, and if it's not absorbed, so if it's buried in a multivitamin, you're not getting the benefit of that folic acid. So probiotics are also critical to this nutrient absorption. They also assist in peristalsis, which is the rhythmic motion of the digestive tract, moving things through the colon. So if you're having problems with constipation and diarrhea, basically the same problem, that's another story for another day, but if you're having those problems, probiotics can be beneficial. They also produce antifungal substances which counteract the growth of not-so-friendly yeast, and that's what was causing my problem, is the Candida yeast. Probiotics can also create compounds that scavenge free radicals, helping with oxidative stress. And we know we talked last time about oxidative stress and inflammation. I just wanted to offer a quick quote from Dr. Mark Hyman. He's the director of Cleveland Clinic's Center for Functional Medicine, and he says, inflammation leads to every one of the chronic diseases of aging: heart disease, cancer, diabetes, dementia, and more. So we need to do all that we can to reduce inflammation, and we know a lot about how we do that. So if all that wasn't enough, probiotics are instrumental in slowing cellular degeneration and the diseases associated with it. And they can also prevent LDL cholesterol from being released back into the bloodstream. Now, another part of the LDL cholesterol is we want to make sure that the liver isn't having to reprocess that all the time either. And one of the things that I do in my upcoming Fresh Start program is that we work to get the liver healthy so that the LDL cholesterol stays at the levels it's supposed to be. Very powerful. We'll talk more about that at the end. With all our worries about bacteria and cleanliness, it turns out there's some of the bacteria, those bacteria are some of our friends. Researchers have discovered numerous benefits of probiotic supplementation. Intestinal infections from Salmonella, E. coli, Listeria, and other infections have been treated successfully with probiotics. Now understand too, the science right now on probiotics is, like I said, it's exploding. There are a lot of strains that they're discovering, scientists are discovering, that can actually be used for targeted solutions, certain disease states and so forth. But the supplements that I'm going to be talking about are foundational for a good, healthy gut. There are 2 strains that you want to make sure that you get that are foundational for everyone. So it's an amazing place to start. It's been incredible watching people just add a probiotic and see what happens. Unfortunately, most diets don't include enough fermented foods and other things, and this is why it's recommended to take a probiotic supplement. Good bacteria, also known as probiotics, have been shown to, and we've talked about a few of these, improve and aid in digestion, calm irritable bowel syndrome, help a leaky gut, boost the immune system. Obviously, we talked about the immune system being in the gut, so when we get the gut healthy, the immune system comes along with it. Improve brain function and work on that depression. Counteract inflammation and control the growth of disease-causing bacteria. Produce vitamins, absorb minerals, and eliminate toxins. Control asthma and reduce risk of allergies. Benefit your mood and mental health. And it plays a part in normalizing weight as well. So optimizing your digestive flora could be one of your most important disease prevention strategies. Now, you may be wondering, which supplements can you trust and have been proven by science? Well, my brand partner, Shaklee, has purity standards that are some of the toughest in the nutrition industry. And Shaklee scientists have published over 125 studies and scientific papers in peer-reviewed journals. This is unmatched in the industry. So here are 3 of Shaklee's foundation regimens. We have the Vitalizing Plan, the Life Plan, which is the Premier Pack, and the Essentials Plan. These are all great places to start. So last week we covered the Life Shake and we talked about the benefits of the protein. Adding obviously a lot of information this week as well. So tonight I'd like to talk a little bit about the Life Strip. So the Life Strip features Vivix, Omega Guard, Vital E, which is the multivitamin, and a sustained release B plus C. So Vivix liquid gels are meant to slow aging at the cellular level. This offers a patented blend of a broad spectrum of polyphenols with key ingredients shown in laboratory studies to protect and repair DNA and combat free radicals. Amazing. Now the polyphenols that we're talking about here are resveratrol. That's the reason why your doctor might tell you to drink red wine, because of the resveratrol, but you'd have to drink a whole lot of wine in order to get the benefits here from the Vivix. And then the second one is the muscadine grape. Omega Guard Plus is for heart health and brain health. They're sourced from wild Alaskan pollock and combined with heart-healthy CoQ10 and vitamin E in an enteric-coated soft gel to eliminate fishy aftertaste and burps. Unpleasant. So we have Vital E, which is the multivitamin. There are 2 of those in the strip. You can split those up, one in the morning and one in the evening, or take them all together. For complete nutrition, bone, and joint health. It dissolves in less than 30 minutes in the stomach and is designed to enhance absorption of folic acid from the patented microcoating. Remember, just a few minutes ago we talked about that folic acid needing to be absorbed in the stomach. So Shaklee scientists, knowing this, created this patented microcoating of folic acid, so that's exactly what can happen. So especially for women that are pregnant, this is a very important thing for them to get that folic acid. And then we have the B plus C sustained release complex for immune health and energy. Shown in a clinical study to provide up to 198% greater absorption of B vitamins over 12 hours. Now, we did mention last week that B and C are water-soluble vitamins. So for the most part, you're only getting 2 hours of coverage with those. Whereas with the sustained release that Shaklee offers, it's a full 12 hours of coverage throughout the day. So is there any proof that Shaklee actually works? Well, this is an amazing lady. You may have heard of her, Dr. Elizabeth Blackburn. She is a member of Shaklee's Scientific Advisory Board. I am so thrilled that Shaklee has made the commitment and brought her on board. Let's see here. She was awarded the 2009 Nobel Prize for Medicine for the discovery of the enzyme telomerase that lengthens telomeres and protects chromosomes. Now you'll see in the picture here, the purple and the yellow combined is a chromosome. At the ends, you'll see the yellow tips. Those are the telomeres. They're like the plastic caps at the end of your shoelaces that protect them from fraying. Well, that's sort of what the telomere does. So we want to make sure that those telomeres stay healthy and they stay as long as possible. Dr. Blackburn is currently president of the Salk Institute. She's president of the American Association for Cancer Research, and she was named one of Time Magazine's 100 most influential people. An amazing, amazing lady. She just authored a book with her colleague, Alyssa Epple, PhD, who is a leading health psychologist. The book is called The Telomere Effect, and it's an incredible book. You may have heard of Dr. Dean Ornish in all of his work with nutrition. This is what Dr. Ornish has to say. This book is revolutionary, transforming the way our world thinks about health and living well, disease, and death. It reveals a stunning picture of healthy aging. It's not simply about individuals. It's about how we are connected to each other today and through future generations. It is hard to overstate this book's importance. Truly, it is an amazing book. And if you're interested in this field of science, you may want to pick it up. Again, it's called The Telomere Effect by Dr. Elizabeth Blackburn and Dr. Alyssa Epple. So over time, our telomeres become gradually shorter, and a telomere length is thought to be a marker of overall health and longevity. So with Dr. Blackburn on board, Shaklee conducted a telomere study that compared people using Shaklee supplements for at least 5 years to healthy non-smokers living in the San Francisco Bay Area. The study showed that the rate of telomere shortening in Shaklee users was a whopping 40% lower than the healthy control group. Astounding. So looking at a statistical analysis of this study, the projections would mean that an 80-year-old Shaklee user would have the same telomere length as a 41-year-old. Just incredible. If you're interested in this study, I have all of the charts and the study itself. And there are ongoing studies as well, more coming out now as Dr. Blackburn continues to work with Shaklee on this science. So I truly and genuinely believe in these products. They truly have the ability to make everyone's tomorrow amazing. I can't state this enough. So again, here are the 3 plans: Vitalizing Plan, Life Plan, Essentials Plan. We do have a lot of targeted solutions as well. We have a sports nutrition line. We have a children's line of vitamins. We have non-toxic cleaning supplies to make sure that we're not compromising and adding toxins to our body. We're actually keeping our immune systems healthy. A lot of times kids with allergies and asthma just get better by getting rid of all of those chemicals in their life. So I have put in the chat box a link to my online store. Please feel free to check it out. I'll be happy to answer any questions. The link that I'm providing in the chat box is actually one to the health print, which is a very short 20-question health assessment. You get a copy of your results, I get a copy of the results, and then we get together and chat a little bit and come up with something that might work for you. So I would love to friend you on Facebook, so I'm going to provide the link to my personal Facebook profile as well as my group. So I'd love to add you to my group. We have a lot of fun. And if you would be so kind, I would love it if you would post what you liked most about the webinar. Maybe there was a little nugget that you can take away and use in your life, or maybe there's something that you didn't realize that you've learned. I would love to hear about those things. And then if you'd like to find me, I'm accumulating everything coaching at coachdebbymiller.com. That link will be in the chat box as well. It's my hub site. So you're going to find my blog, you're going to find my calendar, my events calendar. You'll find some wonderful health articles. I also have a newsletter that you can subscribe to and several more ebooks that you can access there. And if you'd like to talk, please post your phone number or your email or both, and the best time to reach you in the chat box, and I'll be happy to contact you and answer any questions that you have. So in next week's session, you'll learn the importance of antioxidants and the prevention of free radical damage, which is related to that oxidative stress and inflammation we're talking about. We'll talk about the importance of vitamin C and why it's so vital to our health. And we'll talk more about the Vitalizing Plan. This is the second plan, and why its delivery system makes it so effective. And I'll also add the link to my ebook, What Your Doctor Wasn't Taught in Med School About Nutrition That You Need to Know, your companion here for the webinar series. I'd love to see you back next week. We'll be sharing some more helpful information that you'll be able to empower yourself as you move forward on your path to a healthier life. So feel free to post your questions in the chat box, and I'll get back with you as quickly as I can. Thank you so much for joining us for tonight. Bye for now.